Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News and your daily wrestling newscast for Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with news from AEW. Tonight's AEW Dynamite Grand Slam from Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York has become the first weekly AEW television taping to surpass $1 million in ticket sales, according to a tweet from Tony Khan yesterday. This is the second annual Grand Slam event, with last year's taping also held at Arthur Ashe Stadium, achieving the company's all-time record live attendance figure. We will have all the results of the 2022 Grand Slam in tomorrow's edition of the Wrestling News. Another annual Dynamite special, Winter is Coming, may be returning to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in mid-December, according to Tony Khan in a radio appearance he made on the Shan and RJ show on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas.
I got to tell you, I really love this tradition we built around the holidays. I love coming out in December to Dallas every year.
Yes.
And if that viewership's pretty good, if people around Dallas, if we're getting those Nielsen numbers and it's looking good, I got a good feeling about coming back and bringing Winter is Coming back to Dallas again this year. So keep up the good work, watching Wednesday Night Dynamite tomorrow, watching Friday Night Rampage. And I do think if the numbers on TBS and TNT stay where they're at and you all keep doing a great job watching the shows and supporting us, why not? Let's keep it going. I love the Dallas market, and I think there's a good chance we're going to come back again and do Winter is Coming again this year. So let's do it.
Last year's Winter is Coming episode was broadcast from the Curtis Culwell Center in Garland, Texas, about 20 miles outside of Dallas. This December's episode would be the third annual edition. The initial Winter is Coming episode was held in 2020 at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida, due to the pandemic. With your NXT review from last night, here is the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
NXT aired last night on USA Network. The episode, taped last Wednesday, included Solo Sikoa being stripped of the NXT North American title by Shawn Michaels, with the storyline reason that Sikoa was not supposed to challenge for the title on last week's show in the first place. The challenger for the North American title, then held by Carmelo Hayes, as voted on by the fans, was Wes Lee. But when Lee was attacked backstage before the match by Hayes and his partner Trick Williams, Sikoa stepped in to take his place. Michaels announced that a 5-man ladder match would be held at NXT Halloween Havoc on October 22nd to determine the new North American champion. In the main event, J.D. Mcdonough defeated Tyler Bate to become #1 contender and earn a future shot at Bron Breakker's NXT championship. Following the match, Breakker entered the ring to confront Mcdonough, and the two were joined by Ilya Dragunov, making a surprise appearance and seeming to indicate his interest in Breakker's title as well. Dragunov had been out of action since early July, when he was forced to vacate the NXT UK title due to injury. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
In corporate news, an all-employee meeting at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut yesterday, designed to improve corporate work culture, was met with a positive response, according to a report from Fightful Select. In a meeting led by Chairwoman and Co-CEO Stephanie McMahon, President and Co-CEO Nick Khan, and Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque, it was announced that the company would be expanding its flexible work-from-home policy to give its corporate employees the option to work from home. The policy was initially instituted in 2020 during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Paid holidays were also expanded to include Veterans Day, Juneteenth, Thanksgiving Eve, and another floating holiday to be used as needed. It was noted in the report that the meeting helped boost morale amongst the employees present. It was also pointed out that TV and touring would still be taking place on at least some of those days, and so the policy might be different for some employees. In ratings news, WWE Monday Night Raw continued to experience lower than usual numbers as the second week of the National Football League wrapped up its weekend on Monday as well. Going up against two different Monday Night Football games, the Minnesota Vikings against the Philadelphia Eagles on ABC and the Tennessee Titans against the Buffalo Bills on ESPN, Monday Night Raw live on the USA Network from the SAP Center in San Jose, California, wound up with 1.594 million viewers, its lowest rating since July 4th, and its fifth lowest rating of 2022 thus far, according to Showbuzz Daily. That's also down 6.78% from last week when the head-to-head NFL competition began. Nevertheless, in the key 18 to 49 demographic, the show did a .45 rating, which was up from last week's .44, translating to 583,000 viewers, according to WrestleNomics. The show ranked number 5 in the cable top 150 for the night in the key demo, up from number 7 last week, and came in 19th in overall cable viewership for the night. This episode was down 11.09% overall from the same week in 2021 and down 8.16% in the key demo. Turning to Lucha Libre, today marks National Wrestling Day in Mexico, and to commemorate the occasion last night, CMLL featured several veteran lucha stars on its weekly card at Arena Mexico. The main event saw the team of Ultimo Guerrero, Rey Bucanero, and Gran Guerrero defeat Santanico, Overno, and Mephisto in 2 straight falls, when Ultimo Guerrero pinned the 72-year-old Santanico with a roll-up while holding onto the ropes for the deciding fall. In the semi-main event, Volador Jr., Negro Casas, and Blue Panther defeated Hechicero, Negro Navarro, and Solar 2 falls to 1. September 21st was named National Wrestling Day by an official vote of the Mexican Senate that passed unanimously 75 votes to none in 2016. The day was chosen to mark the date that CMLL founder Salvador Luderoff first brought pro wrestling to Mexico in 1933. NBC's Young Rock sitcom, loosely based on the early life and career of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, began filming its 3rd season on Monday, according to PW Insider. Unlike previous seasons shot in Australia, the new episodes are being shot in Memphis, Tennessee. The focus of the new season will be the start of the Attitude Era, including WrestleMania 13, when The Rock faced the Sultan, later known as Rikishi. Season 3 of Young Rock premieres Friday, November 4th. And we wrap up today with this note from Japan. New Japan Pro Wrestling announced on Tuesday that Kushida has been pulled from the company's Burning Spirit tour date in Kumamoto on Wednesday due to being diagnosed with a suspected skin disease. The 6-time IWGP World Junior Heavyweight Champion was scheduled for the 10-man tag team main event alongside Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tama Tonga, Toru Yano, and Jado against Bullet Club members Jay White, Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, Taiji Ishimori, and Gato. It's the second time in less than a week that Kushida has been forced to miss a show due to medical reasons. Kushida also missed last Saturday's show in Kushikino City with a non-COVID-19 related fever. As a result, Wednesday's main event has been changed to an 8-man tag team match, with Gedo, who's also New Japan's booker, removing himself from the match. Kushida returned to New Japan in June after his WWE contract expired in April. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those of you who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News Podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.